it's Jack here, and here's Daddy from AndrewMurrayTV. So please, if you haven't, subscribe to him and subscribe to me, JackMurrayTV.
All right, so we're going to talk about the game. Ended up 1-0 for Ajax, and quite an interesting game. A game of two halves. Mm-hmm. Ajax totally dominated in the first half. It was almost embarrassing. They just really did an incredible job on taking control of the game.
Yes.
And dominating. And at one point, by the 17th minute, Ajax had 66% possession. And Tottenham, which is usually a team that controls possession, had only 30%.
Yes. Which was really surprising because Tottenham is kind of like really good. And Ajax are like the underdogs. And I'm not saying that Tottenham is like Manchester City or Real Madrid or Juventus, but they are kind of underdogs, but Ajax is more of an underdog than them, which is really impressive. I personally think that Ajax could go on to win the Champions League, which is really awesome.
Yeah. So Rose had a bad foul, a couple bad fouls. DeLitt had a run right into the box where he just came right from the center back all the way up, and then he just kept going. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
There was an incredible dummy from Van de Beek, and
wait, what minute are you in already? Oh,
I'm just going with it.
Oh.
Trippier had a handball that should have been a yellow card.
Don Thomas, we call it soccer. Everywhere else, it's called football, or everywhere else except everywhere else except like the United States and Canada call it football, but in Canada and United States, usually it's soccer.
Yeah, so it was a fantastic game. Tagliafico had a really bad tackle in the 30th minute, and that was just before one of the biggest events of the first half after the
And
goal.
Spurs had a free kick right after that, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
and so Vertongen went up, and Alderweireld and Osana, the keeper, and boom, they all crashed together. Vertongen was down for several minutes, and he was bleeding profusely.
Yes, I was like, I'm not gonna watch this bleed, so I left. I only saw a bit of it.
And the thing was, and they checked him out, and then he said he was fine to go back in the pitch, but he didn't. And then after, like, this is maybe like 10 minutes after the actual thing, like he was on for a couple minutes after, and then he kind of signaled that he needed to come off. And then when he was off that second time, he almost fell over. Like they had to hold him up. So it was really poor performance from the medical staff there, letting a player like that back into the pitch. I mean, with a suspected,
injury, a concussion.
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, like the medical staff is trained to realize these things, and with a high-level team as Tottenham, I expect better from the medical team, or at least they would have a better medical team than just that. Of course, accidents do happen, but if there's a concussion, you gotta know it. And maybe Vertonghen was just lying because he really wanted to play the semifinal, but
yeah, it was
staff
bad.
Should have put up more of a fight.
It was bad, yeah. So he came out in the 38th minute. He looked pretty dizzy, and that's about it. I mean, Ajax just dominated the first half. Now there were a couple, let's say, half chances for Tottenham. And again, like I said at the beginning, they came off of set pieces. They came off of crosses into the box.
Yeah.
Capitalizing on the height of Llorente.
Yeah.
And pretty much that's all Tottenham's chances were.
Well, Dele Alli did have like a nice volley near to the future. Don Thomas the Time Lord. Jack, do you still play soccer? Yes, but I have I went to the orthopedics. I'm not sure if I told you this, but I actually am able to play. I'm going to be playing in 3 weeks, about 3 weeks, so I'm glad about that. And actually, this guy has a game tonight. So why don't you just tell everyone about it with the fake plastic walkie-talkie?
I've got a game tonight. All right, but anyhow, back to this game.
Don Thomas, the Time Lord, do you play soccer?
So anyhow, back to this game. So what happened was they brought in Sissoko, and
Yes.
Sissoko was
Pretty good.
he really started changing the game towards the end of that first half, and so it was kind of ending the dominance because Ajax was just playing beautiful football, passing it all around, all that kind of stuff. When it came out for the second half, things were quite a bit more choppy. There was a lot more air balls. The ball was like bouncing around, and it seemed like every time the ball was high, Ajax got the ball.
Yeah.
So they were just taking advantage of that. They were winning second balls. They had more aggression and more energy that they brought to it. And a lot of that was Sissoko. I mean, and there was one situation down in I guess probably in about the 75th minute where Trippier and Neres clashed and went down. Yeah, and then they started like pushing and they got up and Sissoko just kind of stepped in front of Neres, and he's a lot bigger and he's a lot older, and he just kind of like
calm,
kind of like just you could just kind of feel him like forcing him back just with his mind almost.
Do you think that he was kind of annoyed at Neres, or do you think he was just trying to stop them?
He was trying to intimidate Neres. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, there was some great interplay. In the 61st, I think Mora almost set up something. He started coming more into the game as well. They were putting some crosses into the box. A lot of Trippier's balls into the box were really poor deliveries. And I know he took some corners and free kicks, but those were the most dangerous things where, Ajax was holding the high line, but like they just don't have the height, back there to handle those headers. And it's also a different style of football. You know what I mean? The kind of crosses into the box and the headers and all that kind of stuff. That's much more like English football than
Dutch
Ajaxian football, right?
Yeah, they play like Spanish
where they're just like
football.
passing it around and doing these like
Spanish and Dutch football, or at least Ajax, are kind of the same.
These back heels. Although speaking of back heels, Dele Alli had a great little back heel too. So you wanted to get to something else, right? This?
Yes, but I want. Oh yeah. Now.
Okay. One of my favorite players on Ajax.
Yeah, one of my favorite players too. But I don't get this soccer player trend. Why do all these soccer players go from... I know Griezmann went from like blonde hair to I think white hair, kind of whitish hair, to curly hair right now. And now Ziyech is changing his black hair to blonde hair. It's just all crazy. And Messi changes his hair like every single day. It's just crazy. I don't get it.
I don't know. He was phenomenal in the game, but it was weird in the second half. I mean, why do you think that happened? That they just like, every ball was like won by Tottenham, all the 50-50s and everything. And the way it started out the second half, like De Jong missed a couple passes that were like easy, and then there was other people that just missed passes and they just passed it out over the line. It was like, they just kind of started I don't know. And then Neres rang one off the post. I mean, after a beautiful interplay, boom, off the post.
I was like...
If it could have gone back 2-0, that would have been great.
I was like, our prediction's right, except Tottenham may not score. Yeah, so that was amazing. I wish
phenomenal
it
game.
Gone in.
You have any last thoughts before we wrap up?
What did you think about Huntelaar? We were right. He came on again.
Huntelaar came on. That was good. He didn't really get very many touches on the ball, but it's all good.
Yeah.
So it's going back in 8 days, going back to Holland.
And
check it out. Also tomorrow, Liverpool, Barcelona.
We'll be doing a review on that.
We'll live stream for that as well.